Okay, it's part two. We are back, and it is cold out here. We are on the Starbucks in front of Frederick's. A lot of people out here. It is a beautiful day. In the last hour, we had talked about that young kid in Korea, a little over 30 years old, fat and chubby, running a whole nation of, I believe, 16 million people, if not more, 24 million, something like that.
A dictator.
A dictator. And we have a 22-year-old kid named Ulysses Cabreras. I call him Kid Cabreras. And as you guys know on this show, and what we do is we do a lot of research. And we did confirm that Ulysses Cabreras that had the DUI or whatever that was not this Ulysses Cabreras. It was a different Ulysses Cabreras. So here's the problem with Kid Cabreras. He doesn't have enough life experience till you can track him. I mean, I don't know where he works. I don't know. Well, I know where he gets his money for his signs. But who in the hell would give this kid this much money and back this kid that has no experience in anything? I mean, he's not even a barista at Starbucks. I don't understand it. So I think he still lives at home with his mom and dad. I don't know if he has any baby mamas out there. I don't know. He's only 22 years old. And Highland Fairview and Ido Benvizi wants to put a 22-year-old kid that owns no property. I think he still catches the bus. I don't know if he even owns a car. I mean, my point is, he is so young that I don't see anybody. Why would anybody vote for him, Mishan?
The only devil's advocate thing I see there is that I don't see where he lives as being particularly relevant to his job performance.
Right.
And if he takes the bus, maybe there's some sort of medical thing going on that isn't necessarily relevant to his job performance either.
Okay, which is a good point. But basically what I'm trying to say is, he's very young.
He's a 21-year-old kid with no real life experience. Hasn't really time to learn. Maybe he knows. Maybe he's read up on all the stuff, but he doesn't. Really
he hasn't. No, he hasn't.
I'm just giving him the benefit of doubt for that one.
Right? Yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah, but still, he hasn't really had time to
mature.
To learn how things work in a more practical way in the real world.
Okay, and I have to say this, and I'm not trying to down my district, but District 1 is very stupid. We elected a bank robber. We recall a criminal to elect a bank robber to only bring back the criminal. So I can't say much about my district. But then again, this is why we started this show, so that people can be informed, so that you cannot use the excuse you didn't know. Now, the bad thing about this kid is he claims he's from Moreno Valley, but if you go to his Facebook page, which we have pictures of, so it doesn't make any sense to try to scrub your Facebook, you say you're from LA. I mean, there is no history on this kid that we can track. And I'm not saying he's a bad guy or anything like that. All I'm saying, as somebody who's a homeowner, somebody who is a fairly good-looking 47-year-old man, there is no way in hell I'm going to put a 22-year-old kid on the city council that is going to vote in lockstep with what his handlers are doing. So if you look at criminal Victoria Baca and idiot Gutierrez, why are they spending all of their time trying to get this kid elected? Shouldn't they be doing the job of the city and their constituents? We haven't seen Victoria Baca since the election.
Yeah, well, that's not the one. I knew Victoria Baca wasn't going to stay on a district after the election.
Right. Cabreras?
Gutierrez can pick him just like Ido does.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Anyone that Gutierrez touches or gets endorses or has close business ties with or personal ties with, I mean, it's just turns scummy.
So what are you trying to say?
Well, if you want to talk about that guy, then he's just another butt kisser he's another one of Gutierrez.
I never took one dime from Highland Fairview. I work for his super PAC, so I didn't take a dime directly. I just get paid indirectly.
Well, still, he's kissing some serious butt to get into a position that he's not qualified for, and I find it a really big problem that Gutierrez would give someone that much power just because someone stroked his ego.
And it's and it's really sad because you see him in pictures with this guy. That to me, that's like a conflict of interest. It's like, dude, you don't chummy with people that you want to do business or you want to appoint. I'm not saying you shouldn't know them, but when it is blatantly obvious what's going on.
Yeah.
Daryl.
Well, I think it's basically you got to have an independent. Someone is independent. An independent leadership.
I mean, it's bad enough we got Brian Lowell back on the planning commission. I mean, he took Ito money.
Well, it could. Well, at least for right now, Lowell does have some credentials that are relevant.
And I agree with that.
And so I'm going to give him that.
Right, but he still did. I want everybody to do not forget he did take Ito money. But Daryl, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, well, like I said, you need an independent person on there, and Mr. Cabrera, he is a nice young man. I met
kid.
He's a nice young man. But the thing is, it goes back to your point of life experiences. That's what you need, and to have people hovering over, he should be independent and think for himself and say, because you're in a catbird seat, you get elected, you're gonna have to make grown-up decisions.
Right. Does he understand the documents that are in front of him? And at 22 years old, Leah, you're a mom. He can't even wipe his ass.
I wouldn't want anyone that does not have any first-hand experience to try to run shit that I'm involved in.
Okay, well, let me ask you this as a mother. If that was your son, would you vote for him?
I wouldn't encourage my son to do that. I would feel like he was setting himself up.
Right, but I'm just going to ask you just a devil advocate.
Of course I'd vote for him twice. He's my son.
But even if you know he's inexperienced.
Twice.
Okay.
Because that would probably be the only 2 votes he got.
Well, you got to remember you're in Moreno Valley.
I'm just saying.
Okay, so you're in Moreno Valley, so...
I just don't feel like it. I think that I would have to be honest with my son and let him know it's a haphazard attempt, and there should be...
He should have a little bit more experience behind his back.
I would like to see Cabrera on a committee or something first.
That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I want to see him take a little baby step. I appreciate it that maybe it's his confidence, or I don't know if
it isn't his confidence
behind him.
Yes,
like if he's being like puppeteered, like
he
has
is.
Strings being
Very
that's what
so.
Ito. That's what this Ito guy does to people. He uses them as like a puppet, basically,
then
to do whatever he wants.
Chose a better puppet that shows that he's a dumb master to send a 21-year-old out to be his face, because anyone that's intelligent enough would know that we don't want any children making any serious
Well, you got to remember, this is the city of Moreno Valley. I've seen...
That's the problem. So we need. I would think that it would be more calculated, at least. Like you've seen how.
Well, at least with only one district, it would be easier to
watch the votes and like that. So the reason why we're going to talk about this situation is people have to understand what this is about. So I'm going to let Daryl kind of set the stage about why Ito is doing this in Highland Fairview. If you remember in the Cole plea deal, it's a public record. It's on the Inland Empire Informer on Facebook. I put the thing up, and it was from MV Gordy, and it showed what Coe had said to the feds in regards to the 3-0 Club and all this other stuff. He had money for 3 of other council members that he was going to buy off. Now, at that time, who was on the council in that 3-0 Club? Victoria Baca.
Yeah.
Jesse Molina might have been. Well, I don't, you know what I mean? But I know for a fact Victoria Baca during that time. So right now we've got 2 that we know of that are Highland Fairview employees, Idiot Gutierrez and Victoria Baca. And we know Victoria Baca will do anything for money. So why do you think they want to get these kids? You don't need to get 5 people behind you on a project as a developer. All you need is 3 votes, a majority of that vote. Why is Ito putting all these Highland Fairview employees on these different boards?
Well, it's the same playbook as when he did the voter referendum that never made it to the voters.
Right, because he knows that this project would not.
Yeah, well, all he has to do is pay liberally for the bunch of signature gatherers that are just stoners that don't know what they're talking about.
Right,
and then. So he had enough signatures to where it could be given directly to the city council to decide on for themselves when he had people paid off to vote for it.
Right, and then he brings all these boxes of nothing and for display. But Daryl, set it up to where people could kind of understand what this is about when it comes to infrastructure, what this is about.
Well, let's look at, okay, the WLC is here. Now, the question is, out there, is there any infrastructure? There's no infrastructure out there. So for something to support this industrial complex, you're going to have sewers, roads. You're going to have all the 9 yards to make this successful.
If it ever gets built.
Yeah. But it's going to cost a lot of money to do this. I mean, it's going to cost, millions?
$800 million, and that's conservative.
Infrastructure is that this isn't for laying roads. There's nothing out there. We're talking about digging up dirt to lay
piping,
to power lines, communication lines,
sewage,
pipes, gas lines. But
roads.
$800 million. You're going to build like an interstate freeway over the top of this. $800 million. It's like you're going to build an interstate freeway over the top of this thing. So where's the rest of that money going? That's
right. You know, to me, it's land speculation. So people got to understand. Yeah, people got to understand that's the end game. So if I'm Highland Fairview and I invest $20 million of my own money, and I'm getting a $780 million return, that's damn good business.
Yeah, but the thing about doing that, about that referendum though, is that the city's entire budget for a year is like what, $105 million?
Yeah, I believe something like that.
Yeah. So if we have the $800 million in debts, I don't think people understand that the city's credit rating is going to drop. And when the credit rating drops, the interest that they're paying on to service this loan is going to skyrocket to where we're going to end up paying possibly in the tens of billions over the course of 20 years for a $800 loan.
Right, and to me, that's why this thing is 25 years out, because slowly but surely, as things change, because if you're going to build Aquabella, now is the time to build Aquabella because all the baby boomers are retiring.
Yeah.
Right? So his excuse that, well, the economy's not right. The economy is, because Rancho Mirage is making a killing of all the baby boomers that are retiring out in that area.
Yeah.
So for those people, if you're going to the debate on the 20th or the 22nd, that is one of the major questions you need to ask Mr. Kerberos. And he has no way of answering that because he doesn't know. He's only 22 years old. He can't even wipe his nose correctly. So $800 million is a lot of money. And why is this thing 25 years out? Because he's going to squeeze that money out of us. And if he gets that majority that he wants, once the thing is approved, it's approved. This guy can't even pay the legal fees that are put in front of him right now. So do you think he's got $800 million? Do you think this is such a good project now? And that's what this is about.
Well, he seems to come up with money when he wants to.
Well, he's backed by the Trump brothers down in Florida, not of the Donald Trump family. But I want to read you guys this. This is a quote from the plea of Marcelo Coe. Council member Marcelo Coe in 2012 was caught accepting a bribe for millions. This is the same area where the city council was to be rezoned. Now in 2017, it is believed this is a test run with the current mayor and his insistence on placing his choice of appointees on the planning commission to rezone all of the area north of the freeway. It is imperative they don't gain that third seat. From what I understand, the builder had pulled out and decided not to do this development, but somehow someone convinced them to appeal the planning commission recommendation to not approve this project. Could it have been because they expected a puppet planning commission and city council? If the planning commission votes a yes recommendation, the city council can wipe their hands clean and the attention of a possible bribe would be diminished. The attention must be on the upcoming city council election. Don't be fooled. And that's a misquote. That wasn't Marcelo Coe quote. That was one of my insiders giving me information on what this is about. And that is a statement, and I'm going to repost that on the Inland Empire Informer and all the other groups. So if you think about what this person is saying, that's exactly what's happening. This is a test run. If he can get it, you're going to pay for it. If you thought the Measure M kicked your ass in your property tax, what do you think $800 million is going to do? And that is just a minimal estimate right now. 25 years, I know I'm going to be here, but most of you listening are going to be gone and won't even care. This project, Ito's going to sell off the property because when we build the infrastructure there, he's going to be either the landlord or he's going to sell off the land. It's going to quadruple the value of his land.
Yeah. Well, I don't see Ito selling off everything until he gets everything he can get out of it.
Right, he can squeeze out of it.
$1 million loan.
Right, exactly. So that's what this is about, and that's why District 4 election is very pivotal. Now, we've already said what we can say about Cabreras. I mean, I got more to say, and that'll be in the video, and you guys can see that later. Let's talk about Commissioner Baker. Sean, what is your take on Commissioner Baker? He just got endorsed by Mark Takano.
Yeah, that's what I'm concerned about. He has experience, but he's endorsed by Mark Takano. Personally, I'm not really impressed with Mark Takano. The ideology aside, that Mark Takano is not an original thinker. He just he
does the Democratic line. He plays the game.
Pulls the party line and doesn't really have anything new to say about it.
Right.
So that concerns me. I don't. But it's basically going to be between him and
Diaz.
Yeah, Diaz.
Okay.
I know Diaz has been backed by Marshall Scott, and my thoughts and feelings on Marshall Scott are way complicated to really explain here.
Right.
I mean, I don't like what he's done in terms of city, how he's been involved in the city. But as far as my personal interaction with him, he's been incredible.
Right.
So I don't know. It's going to be between those two, and I really don't know who would be
a better
All I know is that Bernard doesn't have any experience, and neither does Cabrera.
Okay, let me ask you this about Bernard. I'm going to get Daryl in here in a second. Why do you feel that Shay Bernard does not have experience? I mean, she has passion. That's very good.
That's nice to have passion, but you need to have a brain behind it.
Right, and knowledge about what's going on. I've talked to her several times. She has some good ideas.
Ramirez has passion too, but doesn't make him a good fit for a job.
True. My thing on her is I wish her luck, but from my understanding, she's backed by the Chicago Mafia. And people say, what's that? Chicago Mafia is Cheryl Brown, Loudmouth and H. Fleming, and that group, and LaDonna Jimson, because, and I tried to tell Shay that and give her some advice. You do not be seen in public with a known bank robber.
And then you've got Cabrera, who's back Gutierrez and Baca's Barrio Trash Brigade.
Right, and you got to look at who these people hang out with. So Daryl, in regards to Commissioner Baker, you know him. You guys both carry the title of Mr. Moreno Valley, but what's your take?
Good man, like him a lot. He's like a brother.
Right.
And like I say, he's knowledgeable. He's been involved in the community. But again, still goes to the question of, are you going to be strong enough? And when people say strong, what do you mean by strong?
Yeah, what do you mean by strong?
Strong enough means you have all the pressures, or can you withstand the saying, we're going to do this, or okay, or you're going to be easy to be pushed around like a chess piece,
right.
Or can you stand
just to get along?
Yeah, and just say, you know what, I don't want to ruffle any feathers, because when you're on the city council, you're going to ruffle feathers,
right.
But you got to think about your constituents, and that's the most important thing. And
what's best for the constituents?
Yeah, and there's a time to build bridges, and there's a time to get along, but at the same time, you're elected to be a leader. People come to you, folks like, there might be another Donovan over there that may come to you and ask you, what are you going to do about this, a hole in the roof, or my streets? You can't sit there and you can't say, well, I'll get back with you or follow up. They're going to expect you to do something, because once you don't do anything, then they're going to lose faith in you. And they're going to lose faith that anything is ever going to be done. So my thing... And
to cut you off, and if, like you said, if they lose faith in you, you're better off running in the first district, because obviously they don't give a damn over here. So continue. I'm sorry.
Well, that's the whole thing. And my question to him or any other candidate is, are you going to be an independent? You're going to be an independent leadership. You're going to think for yourself. 2, are you going to be the one that is going to be able to stand up to Pressure from any pressure.
Right. City employees, city, right.
And just cave in and fall over like are you going to be a weather vane wherever the wind blows, you're going to go that way,
right.
Or you're going to
LaDonna Jimson,
or you're going to stick your ground and say, regardless of how you feel, this is what I think is the best for my district, and that's what I'm going to do.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. And everybody says, oh, Donovan's a loudmouth, whatever. You know what? And I'm going to be a loudmouth for the next 25 years. Okay, so you're going to have to deal with me. We're putting on this debate, not because it's going to highlight Donovan. And it was kind of funny. Somebody said, Cabarrus' team was like, well, who's the moderator? I don't want to go on your thing because I heard you're going to be the moderator and, you're against development. Sean, when have I ever been against the WLC?
Yeah, I've been against the WLC, but it's because of its location.
Exactly. I am not against the WLC. It's the location. I'm on public record saying that. Daryl, you were at the debate. Did I moderate that debate?
No, there was a gentleman, and he did a hell of a job.
I was a candidate.
Yes.
And this debate coming up, I am not the moderator because why the hell would anybody show up to a debate other than the people that agree with me? So the only thing that I'm doing is putting on the venue so that the District 4 people could see who these candidates are. And I said that I was going to do that. As long as I'm in this city, I'm going to put a venue where people can find out what the hell is going on. And that's all I'm going to do. So I am not the moderator. I am just the producer. The only time you're going to hear from me at these debates moving forward is at the very end. I don't know what the questions are. The moderator controls the whole thing. I am basically the guy that's going to be getting the chairs, getting the water, and just running around, making sure everybody is accommodated to what they need to do. And you're going to see me say, thank you for showing up. See you at the next debate. Good luck. And that's it. And that's all we do here because we want to inform you what's going on. Because I'm sick and tired of people saying, what? Victoria Baca got reelected? Where were you? The WLC? What was that? Where were you? And that's all we're doing. But in regards to candidates, I am glad I do not have to vote over there. There are 3 candidates, and Cabarrus is not one of them. Okay? Bernard, like I said, I'm going to tell everybody, do your homework on her. Because you don't have to have a lot of knowledge, Donald Trump, to be a leader. You can learn as you go or whatever. But I'm kind of sketchy because she's backed by the Chicago Mafia. And the Chicago Mafia is the one that's putting on the first debate. I am in agreement. There should be as many debates as you can have. But not within 2 days of each other. Denise Manning could have put that debate on in May. That's plenty of time. So, these candidates have things to do. They have commitments. I got commitments from all 4 of the candidates. And if you do not show up as a candidate, I'm going to have a caricature of you in an empty seat as if you are there. And then I'll answer your questions for you. Okay, so I think that'll be fun. But as far as Commissioner Baker, one thing he does have over Cabarrus is experience.
Yeah, he does.
Experience. So I don't want anybody to forget that. If it comes down to you deciding between Baker and Cabarrus, Baker has experience. He knows how to wipe his.
Why would you choose between Baker and Cabarrus? I mean, you've got Baker and Diaz.
True. I'm going to get to that. So, but if it comes down to those two in your mindset,
yeah.
experience trumps anything else. And I'm gonna use my military as a background. We have second lieutenants that graduate from college every year that comes in the military. Yes, they're officers and they're above the enlisted people, but guess what? They don't know anything. And you can ask any Vietnam veteran or anybody like that how many first and second lieutenants were fragged because they didn't know what the hell they were doing. You come in, you got to have some experience. So the military, what they do is they put you with that grungy gunny or E7, E8, and that guy's going to tell you how things run and how things operate. And that's the real world. So Baker has experience. But if I was voting over there, the vote would come between this, in my opinion. It's between Baker and Diaz. Diaz, I believe, is being backed by the Republican Party. That's my belief. He's a Republican. I'm just saying common sense is the Republicans will back him. He's their standard bearer. And, and that's how politics runs. Diaz is young. He's born in 1974, so that means he's 44 old or 43 years old. Has some experience. He's a business owner. He's conservative, meaning that he's a war hawk. No, just joking. But he's conservative, so he thinks things through. Experience. Once again, experience. Does Shaylin have experience? Yes, she's 35 years old. She has life experience. She has people experience. The one thing these three candidates have over Kid Carreras is experience. Always remember that. Now, I'm not going to say who I endorse and who I don't endorse because that could hurt or help or whatever. I think it'll hurt anybody that take a side to. But in that election, it's Diaz and Baker, if I had to come down to it. And it's up to you guys out there to decide. So, Sean, Daryl, what's your take? Diaz.
I agree with his experience. He has some roots in the community.
Yes.
He has a business in this community. He's
very humble. He's a very humble man.
I heard him speak. He has a good heart, and he has some good ideas.
Right, and he's very independent. One thing I do know, he is not Commissioner Baker isn't also, but he's not a Highland Fairview employee. He's not.
Well, that's the thing.
He's independent.
It comes out independent. I want somebody who's going to be independent, that could hold up to pressure and say, you know what, I don't care if you try to recall me, or I don't care if you try to do whatever. I'm going to still stand my ground no matter what. That's the kind of person you need. You need a person of strength, an independent leader.
Right.
And
Diaz, admittedly, I'm a little concerned about Diaz's ties with Marshall Scott, but he doesn't have any ties to
Highland Fairview.
Highland Fairview that I'm aware of. The thing about Baker is that I really do not like his endorsement from Mark Takano.
Right.
So I'm going to have to say that Diaz is pretty polished. He has an independent streak, so I'm going to have to say that if I was in that district, I'd vote for Diaz.
Diaz. One thing I want everybody to think about too: $250,000, and this is not a knock on Mr. Gaiba, but $250,000 was given by Highland Fairview to Jeff Gaiba, and yeah, he's trying to show independence and all this other stuff. But see, I'm not being fooled. I think Gaiba is going to be the wild card because what it is this. If I had given you, Sean, $250,000 and you ain't toting my line, we're going to have some problems, or I'm going to come to you and say, hey, this is the deal.
Well, they're already having some problems.
Right. But, again, he's the wild card. Even though we're having problems right now, and I want this $800 million project thing, I'm going to come to you with some resolution. Because I did endorse you with $250,000. So it's not a knock on Gaiba. I'm just playing the political game. That is your wild card. If this doesn't work out and Kid Carreras doesn't get elected, I want everybody to watch out for Gaiba. Because nobody gives you $250,000 and don't expect something in return.
Yeah, I expect there will be threats of recall against Gaiba.
Right, but based on what?
Propaganda.
That's true. Well, you could recall anybody in this town for a peanut butter sandwich.
There doesn't have to be a reason for the voters to decide they don't want you anymore.
Right. And that's what I think also Highland Fairview can do and say, hey, if you don't tote this line, we're going to get you recalled. So I want everybody to be aware of that. And I'm not saying that because I'm not saying Gaiba's a bad man. He isn't. He's a fellow veteran, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to give him all that. But he did receive $250,000 from Highland Fairview. And nobody gives you that kind of money and not expect something in return. Now, if Ito was smart, and I could call him on my phone right now, I tell Ito all the time, give me $250,000 and I'll go away. I'll go away. That's how the politics is playing. And here's the thing. I'm honest about it. Everybody, I believe everybody has a price. I don't care what you say. Everybody has a price. Now, your price might not be $250,000, but I know how to play ball. So if he didn't want all the problems that Highland Fairview is getting, if Ito, not that I would have taken his money because I don't like Ito's ethics. And when I say about his ethics, I mean I don't like the way he's buying the elections. I don't like that. However, he's using the rules to his advantage. I have nothing against that. I've always said that on public record. When you put that kind of money into a candidate, there's no way in hell you can tell me you're not expecting something in return.
Honestly, if he offered me $250,000, I wouldn't take it because he'd be demanding I return favors forever.
Right, exactly. Like I said, but a white envelope, Chris Baca's alleged to it. I mean, these white envelope holders, we know Victoria Baca's a white envelope holder because her house was in foreclosure by $17,000. Lo and behold, she goes works for Highland Fairview. gastric bypass surgery, that hasn't helped. Plastic surgery, I don't know what it is. I mean, it hasn't helped her at all. And that picture she has up in City Hall, atrocious. I don't know if she's trying to be a clown or what it is, but she needs to change that picture. Just keep it blank. Just put your name up there. And we haven't seen Chris Baca in a while, but, I'm going to say this about Chris Baca. Everybody knows me and Chris Baca do not get along or whatever. This is not a popularity contest for me. Me and Sean don't agree on certain things. That doesn't mean we can't be polite. Me and Roy Bleckert don't agree on certain things. Doesn't mean we can't be polite, whatever. We're not supposed to agree in a democracy. If everybody agreed in a democracy, then we're in a socialist system. Or communist system. There's a difference between social and communist. A communist system. You just go with what everybody says. So Chris Baca alleges a lot of things. Jesse Molina has alleged a lot of things. Jesse Molina is a good man, but unfortunately, his eyes didn't open until it was too late, and we haven't seen him since. And I know he's on a break, and that's what I heard. He's on a break and stuff like that. I'm not trying to knock Jesse Molina, but what did I say when these guys get elected, and then after they get bounced, you don't see them anymore? Bank robber Jimson shows her head with this Bernard chick, which to me gives me a minute to pause. I'm kind of like, well, what's that about? Now, if you're on a feminist agenda, I don't think you should do that. In a city that is supposed to be non-political in these seats. But if you're going to associate yourself with the bank robber, then politics is a game, and you got to play it to its end. And if I was running against Shay, that's the first thing I would say. She's hanging out with a bank robber. Just like I say about Kid Cabarrus. You're with an idiot mayor who's using and breaking laws, using his title to endorse you, and you're with criminal Baca. That says it all.
And furthermore, my biggest issue with the Gutierrez right now is that he wants to do everything unilaterally, not answer to anyone.
Which I don't understand when he made that statement. It's totally ridiculous. But Daryl...
Well, he's right. That's basically what he's been doing.
Right. Unilaterally. And like I said, Rafael Gutierrez, I even made the suggestion on record. If you want to have him on the planning commission, no, he's not qualified. But make him an alternate. Didn't I say that?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
That's what I was thinking, too.
Yeah,
right, make him an alternate.
Idea.
So that way he can learn the job.
Yeah,
and then
give,
Lori Nichols and the other guy. Gonzalez, yeah. And step them up.
Yes, to do the job.
Right, but no, they don't want to do that. And he's going to try to wait until Kid Cabarrus gets elected. And I'm going to tell this to the people of District 4. If you are stupid enough, and I'm not trying to insult anybody, I'm just saying, I want you guys to think about this. You're going to elect somebody because they have all the pretty signs out there. If that does happen, then, game over. Game over.
Well, like Winston Churchill says, the voters get exactly what they deserve.
You get exactly what you deserve. You should not elect somebody because they have a lot of pretty signs out there. We got people that got elected that didn't even show up to debates or anything, and we don't even know how they won. Even though there was more people that voted than registered. And, it was really one of those things. But see, here's the bad thing about Highland Fairview this time. They don't realize. With only 4 candidates, it's easier, like Sean said, to watch the vote and see what's going on. So, but Daryl, moving forward, any local news that you got? Any announcements? Anything you want to?
No, not really. I've just been sitting here thinking about what you've been saying, and I think this election is probably one of the most important elections that we have seen since I'd say cityhood, because whoever sits in that seat is going to basically, just say for instance you have Mr. Cabarrus being elected. So now you have total control. Now, if you have someone else who's an independent thinker or independent leadership, then that's put a different spin on everything, because you have the mayor still making the appointments, but you have three people that can really change the city around. Because when you look at a direct elected mayor, basically the direct elected mayor is a city council
at large. It's city councilman at large.
So you got five council people one mayor. I mean, you still have 3 too, because he has to run in 2 years. So
He's running right now, technically.
yeah. So that's the thing about it. This is important because it's the direction of the city, which way the city is going to go.
And then people got to realize this. Whoever wins in District 4 automatically goes into re-election mode. Because it's only a 2-year stint.
Oh, I know you was asking me something about SB1.
Yes.
The gas tax.
The gas tax, please.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I'm going to say, Sean. What do you think?
I think it's a load of crap. First off,
It seems like...
the money never goes to roads.
Right, but it seems like Victoria Baca and Idiot Gutierrez are for it because they were down there.
Yeah, well, they also just wanted to suck up to the governor.
Yeah, get their pictures in it. My mom calls them picture whores.
It's a good description.
Okay.
Yeah, the money never ends up going to infrastructure.
Did that
roads.
pass, by the way?
Yeah,
It did.
and people don't have money for that.
Richard Roth voted for it too, didn't he?
What?
Richard Roth, the senator.
Yeah,
he got squeezed to do it.
Yeah, and they gave him that's one other thing that annoys me is that you got with pork barrel politics. It's like to get the vote for it, they offer to include whatever pork barrel spending that
They
any
need.
particular politician wants, and then
to get his
it's
vote.
like everyone's voting for all their wish lists, and
And they put it all in the package to where you're going to have to vote for it.
yeah, and so. Not only that, but with the increase in the registration with the gas tax, that's automatically going to jack up fuel costs, and that's going to jack up for the price of anything that requires transportation.
Right,
over roads.
And I was thinking about that. I mean, our gas is always at least $1 more than anywhere else in the nation.
Yeah,
And they're talking about registration could go up at least $125.
yeah.
I mean, people are struggling. People are in the matrix right now. How do they expect people to survive? I mean, I just don't understand it.
They're not thinking that far ahead.
But okay, wait. You want this infrastructure, right? So I want people to think about this. WLC. How much damage do these trucks do on our roads? Not only are you going to pay for the $800 million infrastructure, you're also going to pay to maintain the roads that these trucks who do not, their companies are not in California, are tearing up. So you're getting it on both ends without the Vaseline. It's scary.
Yeah, it also, part of the problem also is that Jerry Brown wants all these taxes. He's already admitted that he wants it to fund the pension program.
Right, for the cow peers.
Yeah, but the thing is, if he's trying to tax gas, but he's also trying to get people to use electric cars and alternative fuels, he's taxing something that he's trying to eliminate the source of his tax for.
Hey, but isn't that how politics works?
Well, usually politics, they want to make sure they have. They like to tax things, but they also like to make sure that money's going to keep on coming. So that's what this.
Well, you got to remember, Jerry Brown. He's not running for office after this, so he could give a damn. And he's part of the elitists. He's part of the have. Yeah. We are the have-nots. The majority's in the have-nots. So
yeah, basically all it is just going to be used to buy off votes through the welfare system.
Through the welfare system, whatever.
Pay off the aliens that are going to try and vote illegally, but
right. But
and also too, though, most of the power is in Los Angeles and San Francisco, and so we haven't got our fair share of money down in this way in the Inland Empire. Most of the power,
I read about that.
Because think about all that bullet train is going to go from Los Angeles to San Francisco.
Yeah, Governor Brown won't even postpone the bullet train to fix the Oroville Dam.
Right, and then you got to remember the bullet train. It's going to be a couple of $6 billion or whatever. That money went to Dianne Feinstein's husband. He got the contract for it. So what's that telling you?
The
fix is in. Yeah, the fix is in. They're enriching themselves at our dollars.
If they really wanted bullet train, they should have just brought in some Swiss firm and gave them
an efficient firm. Right.
Yeah, a block sum, and for the amount of money they're spending on it now, the Swiss could have done the whole thing as a giant underground tunnel and have it working already.
Right, and have some real jobs coming in here and doing what we need.
Now it's just a train between farm communities and tweakers.
And tweakers, yeah. You're out in Bakersfield, wherever, endless outland. But I want to remind everybody, we're having a debate April 22nd. That's a Saturday, 5 to 7:30. All 4 candidates have confirmed that they are going to be there. This is for you guys to meet and greet and see what's going on. It's a Saturday, so we put it to where everybody could come out. So we've got commitments from all of the candidates to come out. If a candidate doesn't show up, we're going to let you guys know that and report that. You guys, and those of you that possibly can't make it, we're going to make an a video of the debate so that you can see it on YouTube or whatever. And we do this not because we're getting enriched. Everything that we're doing is coming out of our pockets. We're doing this because we want you to be informed. But go ahead and spread the word, like and share. It's going to be April 22nd, 5 to 7:30 p.m. We're going to have drinks, refreshments, meet and greet. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be at the Moreno Valley Beach Drive Golf Course on the east side of the city. You can't miss it. Just say, where's the east side golf course? And it's going to be over there at the clubhouse. So please, got some nice chairs. We've already kind of went and saw the event and everything. Nice chairs, so they're not going to be like the old hard chairs where your butt gets hurt. They've got some really nice chairs where you can sit down and be comfortable. We have a table set up. So, it's going to be a nice, intimate setting. And you will be able to ask questions of the candidates. We don't know what the questions are. It's like the last debate, right, Daryl? You walk in, write your question down. Doesn't mean your question's going to get asked, because depending on how many questions they have. But first come, first serve. So if you come in, your question will likely be asked. And the reason we do that is because when people get on the microphone, it sounds like this. Hi, my name is Bernice Jenkins, and I'm with the Ebenezer Baptist Church. I want to give thanks to my pastor, Deacon 557, and I got all this other stuff. Now, my question to you is, I have a little dog, and the dog is always going out of the fence. And the fence, what's happening with the fence is, the things that they're going, and, the person takes up so much time describing what they're doing or what the question is, that by the time you realize it, only 3 questions were asked of each candidate, and you don't know anything about the candidate than when you first walked in. So, and also not to be biased, because this is the Inland Empire Informer, and the only person that was scared and asking a bunch of questions was Kid Krabaris, who's the moderator. Daryl, does it really matter who the moderator is?
No, it doesn't. It's about your substance. That's
right.
What counts. Substance.
I don't know what the questions are going to be, and I don't care what the questions are going to be. Either you know the answer or you don't.
It shouldn't matter who the moderator is, because when you get on the city council, you're not going to be able to pick and choose who comes up to the microphone to ask your questions or complain or put you on the spot about asking, what are you doing? Right,
absolutely. So if you guys want to, like I said, if you went to the last debate, this is not a gotcha debate. This is not a Donovan Sadiq show. This is not a Sean Fortine show. This is not a Mr. Daryl Terrell show. This is a District 4 debate. We live in separate districts than what's going on out there. And we secured the location. And for those in District 4 that want to know a little bit about what this developer, who is not Highland Fairview, is doing with that golf course, he is going to give a quick presentation, since he is the host, and tell you about what he's doing out there. And I think that's going to be some good questions for the candidates to answer or ask of this developer, because it's going to be in that district. So I think that's going to be a good thing. So with a minute to go, Daryl, we're going to go ahead and close this out. Daryl, anything coming up?
No, nothing in particular.
Yeah. Do you have any meetings with the mental health coming up?
We meet next month.
Okay.
So not anything.
Okay, great. Sean?
No, nothing new.
Okay, great. We're going to keep you guys informed. This is the Inland Empire Informer. Mr. Moreno Valley Daryl Terrell. Me, Sean Fortine, and I am that troublemaker that you hear about, Donovan Sadiq. But for somebody who's making a lot of trouble, and for a group that makes a lot of trouble, we sure do a lot for our community. We want to keep you informed, and that's what we intend to do. We'll see you guys again next week. Please tune in. Do your homework on these candidates, because I'm telling you, it is pivotal what this seat is going to do. And the bottom line is, you get what you vote in. And we don't want to hear you guys complaining and crying when the WLC or all these trucks come down your street and all this stuff starts happening. And that's what it's about. So you guys stay tuned, and we'll catch you guys again next week.